Good day, legends. I'm gonna service a Van RC today from Fox. Take off the spring retainer. Okay, we're gonna drill out the Delrin ball. 1/16 drill bit. Pop out the Delrin ball. 4mm Allen key. Beautiful. Pusher. Pop out the circlip. Beautiful. Oh. I'm cheating. Already cheating.
And minimal.
And another. Oh. How dare you? Just wait for it. That's okay. Pushing this out. Man, I can't believe it. I've already effed it up.
Should we start over?
No.
Alright.
The thumbnails. Thumbnails effed up. Okay, whatever. We'll cut this out. No, I need to come into a view.
Oh man, you have to put this in the editing software now.
Okay. So we'll
You do
pull
the
this
thumbnail.
out. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's in good condition still, shockingly. Okay, beautiful. Shove this back in. We're gonna need to blow out the IFP. Two millimeter Allen key. Take the adjuster knob off. Be careful of the detent balls. Beautiful. Boom. Now we need to take out this bleed port screw. Ho ho ho. Don't lose the O-ring. We'll use the bleed port to blow out this IFP. There she is. Now we need to drain the shock body. We'll just set this aside. Last few drops will come out. trying to use the fewest number of tools is why I'm using the adjustable wrench. It's a challenge I was given. At this point, it's a good idea to check these shims, make sure they're not discolored. These ones look good. Seal head, bottom out bumper. This bumper is a little chewed up. We'll replace it. Now this next step is optional, but I'm gonna do it for good measure. I'm gonna remove this eyelet so that we can replace the metering rod seal. I really wouldn't do this if I didn't have the tools. I wouldn't do this because it never leaks, barely, almost never leaks. So that's red Loctite, thread lock. And that's as far as we're gonna go with taking this apart. That's the O-ring. So next we'll replace all the seals, and I'm going to set this aside to drain vertically here. Right here. Very good. Need to move. Okay, so we'll replace the seals on this Van RC. We're using an MTB hydraulics kit for this particular job. This one's DHX5 coil Van R/RC Bomber CR, covers all of those. So, and we're not even fully disassembling this shock, so we'll only use about half the seals, but the important ones we'll use. Okay, so this thick one we'll use. This other thick one we'll use. This wiper we'll use. We'll use this and this pellet and the ball. Now, with these ones, we'll use the thickest one. And then, the other ones are a bit harder to tell. So this bleed port seal is, there are 3 of these really small seals. 2 of them are thicker than the third one, so those thick ones go on the bleed port, and the thin one goes on the metering rod. So I'm just going to put it right there, and then with what's left here, we need to figure out which one is the thread seal for the seal head. Okay, that looks right. That's good. So all of these other ones, leftovers, we don't need. So I'm gonna put these aside. Now replace the rest of them. This wiper is an important one to replace. And this O-ring also. These are the two most important seals in this entire thing. They often wear out and cause a leak. So I just put this seal in from the bushing side. Push it in by hand. Then use an Allen key or something. So that's in place. Next is the wiper. Pop that in. I like to just put some tapered rounded object in it and make sure it's seated. Okay, so next we'll put this together. This metering rod. I like to kind of shove the seal in place as much as possible before putting the eyelet in place. We use permanent thread lock or high strength thread lock. This needs to go in the vise. Don't need to go too crazy. Also make sure the threads are dry. I was careful not to get the threads oily, because in that case the thread lock doesn't do much. So we'll replace this bottom out bumper. With this. Oh, I don't know the part number. I don't know the part number. It's on the Fox website. Okay. So now this seal head can get inserted there. Okay, so that's good. We'll replace the IFP seal. It's important to wipe out this this side of the IFP with the little depression. The IFP cap. Not essential. Most of the times it's not actually needed, but I'm going to do it to demo this. So we're going to replace this sealing pellet. I'm just stabbing it with a pick. Sometimes it's kind of hard to replace. So normally I don't replace these, but there it is. the new one in. One side of the pellet has a chamfer. That goes in first. Boom. And this last seal. Now we'll assemble it, fill it with oil, and then buy burritos. Okay, so we're back here. I'm just gonna make sure this is good. These shims before I put them on. Nice. The oil is pretty fresh, so I'm not even gonna worry about laying these out for cleaning. Not what I expected from a Whistler rental shop purchase. Okay. I'm not using a torque wrench because I've been challenged to use the bare minimum tools. But torque specs are available on the Fox website, of course. Okay, so that's nice. And be careful, these detent springs, they're held in by grease currently, so don't want to lose those. I'm going to put some more grease on top to make sure they don't fall out. So I plugged the bleed port. We're going to use Fox 10 weight green. Excellent oil. No, just joking. It's a good oil. Fill up both sides. An important tool for this job is a nitrile glove. At the start, I forgot to mention that you actually need to open up the compression adjuster. It's all the way open. Okay, it is now. It makes bleeding a lot easier. And while we're at it, actually, open up the rebound adjuster all the way. And, well, I forgot. So, just gonna push down the metering rod. Make sure it's pushed down. If that even reaches it. Anyway, normally you would push down the metering rod all the way down so it bottoms out on the adjuster knob. That way the rebound is all the way open. Okay, so we'll cycle this. Can you zoom in? So I'm just cycling this to purge out the air. It's good enough. And it's a little counterintuitive, but this IFP needs to go, or needs to be flat side up, so it'll trap some air when we insert it. Unfortunately, but that's okay. That's why we have the MTB Hydraulics bleed syringe. So I'm just pushing this down a little ways And I'm going to insert this next. Piston assembly. That's close enough. You can save a decent amount of oil if you don't fill it up all the way. So then it just starts overflowing when the seal head's all the way in. But I didn't do that. That wasn't part of my challenge. It was just, my challenge was only about tool. So, not about oil usage, just tool usage. So. Okay. Nice and tight. So next, made a mess as usual. That's okay. So next we'll hook on here with the MTB Hydraulics bleed syringe with a Fox OEM bleed adapter. We'll fill up this syringe. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to put the circlip in here. Okay. And before I fill up the syringe, I'm going to flush the syringe. How dare you? Okay, so now I flush the syringe. I'm going to draw it full of oil. So there's tons of air in this shock currently because of the way the IFP was inserted. So we're just going to cycle the thing. Oh yes, lots of air. Just using my finger to push the IFP in because I'm challenged to not use any tools. But normally you should use something like a wooden dowel, such as this piece of broom handle or something. Oh, fine, I'll just use it for demo. I don't need to prove my point. I'm not using a tool for this one. So it'll take quite a few cycles before this starts clearing up. It's also a good idea to push down hard on this. Okay, and open up that high-speed circuit, high-speed compression, that is. Now that we're almost done, I'm gonna make sure to orient the shock so that the bleed port is at the highest point, such as like this. Still some air coming out. Okay, so now I need to figure out the IFP depth from the Fox website. Okay, so that's basically all done. Just go in the bomber seal. Okay. So the IFP depth is 1.38 inches for all of the shock sizes. For this shock. And that's measured. I will demonstrate how that's measured. Measured like that. So now the syringe is full, so I'm gonna partially drain it. Okay, not quite. So I just pushed it all the way. And I'm going to push it back out. Okay, close enough. Now we'll put this plug back in. And we need to wipe the oil from here. just spray it down a bit. I like to wipe this part because it can look like it's leaking oil if you don't. Nice. Adjuster is back on. Now we need to inflate the IFP chamber to 300 psi. So I popped out the circlip. So I'm going to use the Fox pellet retainer tool. And keeping this grub screw loose. This is tricky. Pushing the needle into this. Okay. And now that there's pressure in there, I'm able to tighten it more and even more. So we're going up to 300 psi. So just tightening this to make sure it's all good. And boom. I'm gonna go over this with a wrench and an Allen key. Make sure it's tight enough. Beautiful. Now we'll test this. Not using a shock dyno for this, just a vise. Hopefully. Okay. No sound of air in the damper, and it compresses fully, which are the two things you want. And ideally, you test it more thoroughly. Put it in the bike or something. But I've done it enough times that I know it's fine. So that's good. And we'll spray her down. Oh no, sorry. We'll put the Delrin ball in here. Be careful with this. Okay, now we're spraying it down. And that's pretty much it.